The internet has been going crazy about this character, Emma Frost, being added to Marvel Rivals, and today, this is what we are going to be talking about. Hello everybody, and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I am your guy with many YouTube channels. So, a lot of people have been upset by Marvel Rivals adding Emma Frost to the game, and this is what the character looks like. Obviously, hypersexualized. Obviously, very, very revealing for the outfit. If you play Marvel Rivals, you might know that this is not new for the game. They are not afraid to, dive into that with the characters. And I've talked about this quite a few times on the channel, diving into like hot female characters within video games. I don't think it's a big deal. I would think it's a big deal for for example, on the Clen Channel today, we just talked about Sabrina Carpenter coming into Fortnite. At the end of the day, it's a video game and I don't care, but there is a difference in how I view somebody like Sabrina Carpenter, who is an idol figure for young women, compared to a game that doesn't pretend to be hey, we're going to push these out to kids, Marvel Rivals knows what it is. Sex sells in video games, and honestly, guys like looking at these types of avatars. So I'm not somebody who gets all up in arms about these types of designs in Marvel Rivals. Do I think it's absolutely weird for the people gooning all over these types of characters? Yeah, I think that's very strange, and I think you need help if that's the case. But the problem is, for Marvel Rivals, I actually really, really like their art style. I do. I'm not saying that I like this, and to be honest with you, it's a little much, this one. A comment that I made over on X, if anybody sees it, if anybody ended up following me over on X, which if you're interested, follow me at Clen YouTube. They kind of look like cracked eggs. They really, really went into the design, okay? I think it's weird to obsess over something like this. I think it's weird if you literally just use the character because you like looking at her like this, and if you are attracted to a video game character, legitimately attracted, that is a big, big problem for you personally. It's not on Marvel Rivals. They know sex sells. They just added Venom twerking. Marvel Rivals is a game that, doesn't pander over to children or anything like that. I think it's no big deal. That's how I look at this. And on top of that, guys, Marvel Rivals, the whole point of the game isn't to goon over characters like this. It's just kind of if a bonus, if you want to call it, because Marvel Rivals is a very, very well-structured game. At the end of the day, I have issues when we have things, pandering to children. I don't have an issue with a revealing outfit like this. I know it's comic accurate. I prefer it to be comic accurate, but I don't really care. If they were to censor her a little bit, I also wouldn't care about that, to be honest with you. But do I think it's weird, again, to care, or not to care, to really, really obsess over sexualized characters in the games? Yes, I do, and especially when you get a little bit into it, people talking about this type of stuff being gooner bait. The more of the issue is on the behavior and not necessarily Marvel Rivals existing. And we've dove into the same topic, talking about Stellar Blade. If you're interested, we've opened that can of worms on multiple occasions. But guys, I ended up posting this over on X because it's not just about what I think. I wanted to get an opinion on how the internet feels about this in general. I quoted that boy Aqua because I found what he had to say very interesting, and I said this in response to a quote, what he had to say. I'm going to make a video on this topic soon. If you have any thoughts, drop them below and I will include some. Thank you for your time, as always. And if you want to join in the conversation, we have videos like this all of the time. Follow me at Clen YouTube, or you can check out the top of the description. The link tree will be there, or if you want to dive a little bit into the description, you can find the direct link over to X, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Like and subscribe if you have not already. And I'm not sure if my puppy's dreaming or not. I thought I heard a little bit of a... I don't know if the mic picked that up. I could have swore I just heard something from her. Regardless, let's get into it, guys. Julie had this to say. It's not Gooner skin because it has reference material. I'll never get why some women refuse to acknowledge how terrible our representation is in games. Marvel has a sexualization problem, and you're part of the problem when you let them get away with it. You had me until that end part. I don't like that whole thing. It's kind of reminding me of something along the lines of silence is violence. No. Just because I'm not talking about it, just because I am using Emma Frost, or just because I am accepting her being in the game, doesn't mean I am the part of any problem. Unfortunately, sex does sell. Skins like this are going to make... who makes Marvel Rivals? Whatever, whatever company's behind Marvel Rivals. Marvel Rivals is going to make a ton of money. And I get it, Emma Frost, this is always how the character's been. I would prefer it to be comic accurate, I would, but... Women could use a little bit better representation in games. I will agree with that. And I know another type of conversation people keep bringing up was what about the male sexualized skins? Those skins are also sexualized. They are. It's just a highly sexual game. That's the problem. And I would take issue with the game being highly sexualized in general if that was the point of the game. But that's not the point of the game. The point of the game is an actual well-functioning hero shooter. It's just part of what the game is. Plus, I really like the art style. I'm not saying the art style as in like, the characters being over-sexualized, but I like the designs for a lot of characters, man. I think people are looking a little bit too deep into this one. Elliot is Seeking had this to say, it really doesn't matter in my opinion. Comic characters for decades have had sexualized outfits. They're also sexualizing both genders in the game, so I don't really see the issue or care. Feels like people are complaining because they don't like to bring others down for liking it. Yeah, unfortunately, it is literally just a game that sexualizes characters, and to say that they don't do that for both characters is just being dishonest because that's not the case at all. That Boy Aqua's actual tweet had this to say, might get crucified for this, but Rivals is so blatantly panders to gooners that it puts me off from the game. Like it's a hero shooter, we don't need such exaggerated jiggle physics on a character's thighs, chest, and butt. We don't need that. We don't need that, and if they didn't have it in the game would still be fun, but they do need to make their money. I don't think they're exactly wrong for doing that because, again, I'd have an issue if it was like, hey kids, come play Marvel Rivals, come play our highly sexualized game. I wouldn't complain if you wanted to get rid of it in general, but that's the reason I'm not outraged about this, to be honest with you. But do they pander to gooners? Kind of. Yeah, I guess you could say that, but the problem is, like, they actually have a legitimate game behind them, That's where I'm like, I don't want to just go out and hate Marvel Rivals because of it. But we don't, he's right, we don't need this. Oh my god, excuse me. This is one of the trailer videos. You've had a ton of them just like this. And if you only play Emma Frost for this, I do think you're weird. I do think it's weird to want to play a character just because you wanted to get into it. I think it's, again, on the behavior of the person, and it's not the fault of Marvel Rivals. People just see a bad bitch and go on about their day. Now we got to sit through the 100 think pieces on why men should be sexualized equally. That's kind of true. But yeah, it's the new outrage of the day, guys. Honestly, I saw this, I go, wow, and then I go about my day. I'm not going to play Emma Frost when I play Marvel Rivals. I like playing Adam Warlock. I like playing Psylocke. Those are my two mains, and I don't know if I play anybody else, but I'm not interested in trying Emma Frost. I just won't play it, man. I just won't play it. People need to, we need to get back into as a society seeing things and going about their day because this isn't the end of the world. Again, I'd be on board with it if this game was pandering to kids. I'd be on board with that, but it's not. Like, I refuse to believe actual real people are genuinely upset by this because at the end of the day, it literally hurts no one. Yeah, real people absolutely are genuinely upset about it. Real people exist in especially online culture. People are looking for the next outrage of the day, and this is the new thing to get mad at. If the character is known in every iteration to be revealing as it is part of the character, who am I to judge them sticking to the source material? Also, her kit is built for a tank, so of course she has to be bigger to fit the tank hitbox as there isn't any female tanks. I mean, it might just be getting away with making her thighs giant. But yeah, like, Marvel comics have always been sexualized. They've always been for adults. For like a lot of the stories have been for adults. If adults want to read it, if adults like it, if adults like the sexualized characters, I'm not gonna complain about it. I pick my battles, man. I pick my battles. It panders to the 95% of the population that don't have sexual trauma and aren't afraid of tits. But let's be real, guys. Let's be real for a second. Macro Art did have a really good point in the replies over here, okay? It panders to incels. I think you're confused, friend. Normal guys are pre-programmed to like bouncing boobs. If you don't, there's something broken in you. Ooh. Yeah, that's how I look at it, guys. I look at the designs, I go, yeah. And I think Emma Frost is too much? I do. I think it's too much. But I'm not going to get mad at that. I'm not going to get mad at that at the end of the day. And a lot of people are, for the people who look at that and go, oh my god, that's disgusting. I think they're lying to themselves. Like Macro Art had to say, normal guys are pre-programmed to like bouncing boobs. But the problem is, those guys, that take you too far. If you're somebody who is a legitimate gooner to Marvel Rivals, you need to have a look in the mirror because there is a lot going on in your life that you absolutely need to change. I'm just not going to get mad at Marvel Rivals for that. I'm going to get mad. I'm not even going to get mad. I'm just going to look down upon the guy who's gooning to Marvel Rivals. Play the video game. Look at your character. It looks nice, okay? There are people who take it too far. And the vast majority of people, 95%, as Maker Art would have said, 95% of the people don't have that issue. Just saying, here's an example of some of the sexualized male characters. And a lot of people would also come back to this and say like, oh, it's not the same. It's not the same. This is an unrealistic beauty standard for men that absolutely is the same. 100%. That is sexualized. Look at the bulge there. Look at the giant muscles. The dude's basically naked. Okay? I'm not going to sit down and get mad because I can't obtain a look like that. Look at this one. It's the same deal. Absolutely the same deal. It's just different things are highlighted on men and women. I don't know how to explain it. I'm all for female characters being hot and owning sexuality, but it always leaves a bad taste in my mouth from rivals because I know it's coming from a male gaze point of view. Most men play Marvel Rivals. I don't know. Are women likely to buy a sexualized character just because of that? But guys will absolutely buy Emma Frost because, of the thighs jiggling. Like, look at that right there. Yeah, they had a jiggle physics to the thighs, man. Like, they're smart at what they do. They are smart at what they do. I'll give them that. And I know if you've been following my other channels, like, I've had a not so great outlook on, the sexualized culture that we live in. But if you're, like, in a niche part of a video game and you're all adults and you're normal people that can handle this without actually going like, oh my God, Emma Frost. Like, and actually going crazy, I don't see an issue with it, man. There's a line to be drawn with all of this stuff. But it's understandable, honestly, for women to have a bad taste in their mouth about it. I just don't think there's anything wrong with pandering to the male gaze because that is what's going to sell your game. My opinion is that I feel like they're catering too much to the Gooner community, they are catering to the Gooner community too much. I know this is kind of the fan base and it makes them money, but I feel like they're overdoing it. Could be overthinking and it's the Gooners making it weird, but I'm blaming the wrong people. But in my opinion, I don't know if there's supposed to be more to that one, but at the end of the day, it is Regna's opinion. Sorry about that. I believe Regna might be overthinking. It is the Gooners making it weird. If somebody's making it weird, like again, if you're watching this video, you're probably normal. You look at that, you either think it's funny or you go like, oh wow, look what they did to Emma Frost. Boobs. That's what the male brain thinks, right? We look at that and go, oh my God, tits. And then we go about our day. There's a problem with the legitimate Gooners. I'm not like memeing when I'm talking about Gooners, like legitimate Gooners. That's the issue. And they can be an issue all by to themselves, okay? They can be an issue all by to themselves. Genuinely, where did the sentiment come from that any game that has a roster of attractive women is a, game or Gooner bait? That's a good point. It's a good point, but I understand when people are talking about Marvel Rivals because it is a little much, I don't think it's really fair to say that they're not Gooner baiting, but the problem is like they have an actual well-structured game, and that's also the focus of the game. The dev team is trying to make the best experience possible. This is just a side part of the game. So I don't know, like I see both sides of that argument. People are trying to sit on a high horse in a public internet space. Yep. Yeah, they always do, dude. They always do. But I do understand some critiques that come over from Marvel Rivals. I totally get that, to be honest with you. Grums had this to say, is this what gamers want? Unfortunately, it is just what men want. Not even just gamers. Like, let's all be honest over here, guys. Let's be honest. What guy looks at this and goes, ew? What guy looks at this and goes, ugh? The problem is when you overstep it. The problem is when you're addicted to lust. The problem is when you are somebody who is, addicted to adult content and touching themselves, then anything like this becomes a problem for you. But if you're normal, capable, understanding, well-functioning man, you look at this, you look at the thighs, and then you go about your day just like I'm about to go into the next tweet. I'm not feeling anything. Okay, this is just getting weird now. The overall sexualization of women in this game needs to stop. Am I wrong in saying that I just don't think it's hurting anybody? I'm a big fan. If you don't like it, don't play it. I'm a big fan of that. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Because like we were talking about earlier, I just made a video talking about Sabrina Carpenter coming to Fortnite. I think I can draw a line with Sabrina Carpenter and Marvel Rivals. One's an idol for young women who I just watched get Eiffel Towered on stage. Marvel Rivals is not really for kids, and they're just taking, source material from something that's already like heavily sexualized in the adult world. I think there's a big line to be drawn. I just don't think that Marvel Rivals is like, is the issue at the end of the day. And can we stop this dumb comparison acting like these are similar? Both of these men have no cheeks on display, so please be silent. What girl, and here's the pictures for you. This is for the male gaze. This is for the female gaze. But the problem is like the male gaze means more than the female gaze. And what I mean by that is like girls aren't going to look at this and go, oh yeah. Guys are going to look at the other picture and go, oh yeah. There's a big difference in there. There's a big difference there. Everybody, of course, like, wow, we're a big step from Malice, eh? This was the big problem a little while ago. This is the big problem. And of course, they're just highlighting different things because what girl looks at guys' cheeks out and being like, oh yeah, it's not a fair comparison. Cyan had this to say, My opinion is it doesn't really matter at all. Marvel Rivals just knows what the people want and giving them instead of limiting it to them. On the Emma Frost side especially, she is known to dress up like this all the time. That's a big part of her character. They're picked from the source material. Whether or not you have an issue with the source material is up to you. I mean, it's important to note, like, I'm not really against anybody who thinks that this is too much, because I also think it's a little much, you know? I do. It just, like I said earlier, I'm a big fan of, if you don't like it, don't play it. We also did make a video touching on the Malice situation when Malice first got at it, because people got mad at that as well. If you want to hear us talk about that, you can check out the video on screen. Thank you so much for coming to the video, guys. Take care.